What's up, fam? This is the day the Lord has made, and we're here to rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to Hope TV. You've tuned in to the Marriage Matters broadcast, and we're excited. Under and I, we're back, and we've been going strong since March 24th with this one. And actually, we started this one on March the 4th with our women's week. And what was it called? What was it? I think,
Unstuck.
Women's Unstuck Week. It was powerful, and whoever knew that that was going to be the precursor for this? I mean, God has a strange sense of humor, because the Women's Day was our last Sunday in public worship, and March 8th, and here we are. This has been a continuation. So God is good. God knows even we don't know. So welcome. If you tune in from Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, the websites, the app. However you tuned in, we're grateful. I appreciate you for your support. And while you're watching, if you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, you can subscribe to the House of Hope Atlanta YouTube page channel. Also, the YouTube channel is called Dr. E. Dewey Smith. You can subscribe to that one. You also can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. So those platforms are available for you, and also the Hope TV. So please follow, support. Share this link with about 5 people. We're very excited. Under had an idea about this show a couple months ago. We've been interviewing people who've been married, some, from a few years to 50 years, but this concept was something she thought about. You want to talk about that again?
Sure, yeah. I just wanted to have people on the show, since we have so many single people that are watching. We wanted to have couples on who were engaged and that were going through the planning process during this whole time.
Yeah, so we last week we had an amazing conversation that was a lot of fun, inspirational, insightful, and we want to invite the couples back for part 2. And so we're happy to have with us today Torrance and Ashley. What's going on, fam? How y'all doing?
Hey.
What up?
And then secondly, we have with us Antonio and Chris, who are back with us for part 2 as well. What's going on, fam? How y'all doing?
Hey, y'all.
What's up?
Hey, we had a great conversation last week, and let me encourage those who missed part 1 last week, go back and check out part 1. A lot of great stuff we talked about, so we're going to continue it because we ran out of time. Torrance, you know how I feel about you, and you are jack of all trades, and you've been you are not just been, but you are an important asset to my ministry, to our church. I think the world of it. And we were talking maybe 8 months ago, probably, I guess. It's been a while ago. We were talking about your engagement, and Ashley, we've been watching that relationship develop, and it's been a joy, because we think the word of Ashley too. So I think you're incredible people. And I think I may have asked you about how did you know Ashley was the one. The conversation went something like that. And you had a unique story that I had never heard before, as to what was that final thing, what was the final straw that let you know that she was the one. I think it's powerful and it's beautiful and humorous. So I want you to share what that story was. I think you remember the conversation I'm talking about. So tell me what that moment was.
So I think it was after a Bible study or something like that. I shared, so back in December, I think it was Christmas 2017, I actually came home with me to Chicago for Christmas to see the family and stuff. And we were in the hotel, and I was telling her I was looking for, I want to go to the Bears game. I'm at home. I got to see the Bears. I'm a big Bears fan, as you can see. And so I was on the ticket site looking for good seats or whatever. And next thing you know, she come around the corner, just hand me a card, and she said, "Go ahead and buy the tickets." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What's my limit?" She's like, "It doesn't matter." Okay, I'm gonna do you something. I'm gonna find some good seats at a decent price, but I'm gonna get some good seats now. So we got tickets. We was probably 2 rows back from the front at the 45-yard line. So
Wow.
it was a cold day.
Freezing.
It was a cold day.
It was freezing.
I bought the tickets, I think, the day before, and that next morning we was getting ready to get up and get ready to go. We look out the window. It started snowing.
Snowing. And in my brain, I'm thinking, surely we're not about to go to this game.
She even, I don't think she knew it was an outdoor stadium, so that's what messed it up. And I was like, it's only 20 degrees outside. It'll be all right. You got a coat, you got some gloves, got a hat. I'll wrap you up good. So my sister and her husband was with us, and a couple other people. They got some tickets also. We took the bus and the train down there. So that started off on the wrong foot right there. And so next thing you know, the bus, traffic got so bad because it was snowing so bad. We had to stop because the bus was just standing there. I was like, hey, we about to miss the beginning. I can't miss this. We're going to have to walk. We got off and walked from when we got off the bus to the stadium. And it wasn't that bad. Come on now. So I took it through all that. We got into the stadium. It's an outdoor stadium, so it's snow on all the seats. You had to wipe the snow off. And, they give you warmers and stuff, little warmers you break, keep cool, keep you warm. That wasn't enough for her.
It mattered not. When I tell you that I did not think I was going to live after that day, I could not feel my toes. And in my head, so at some point, it was like after halftime, he had gone to like all the way of the front of the area, right? So he's at the front. So I'm sitting there. I've made friends with 2 Chicago natives because they have blankets and I am freezing. And they're like, oh, I'm okay. Do you want my blanket? Yes, girl, give it to me. And my toe, I cannot feel my toes. Oh my gosh, I'm about to get frostbitten. They're gonna have to go cut off my toes. I'm trying to, be super sweet to him by staying at this game. I hate it. I mean, it was.
I set up for the okie doke because if anybody knows Chicago, when you downtown, it says 20 degrees, but the wind chill, it was gonna feel like 8, and that's what it was. It was 8 degrees.
You know what, Torrance? We got some footage of you guys at that game, and I want to pause for a moment and show the viewers just what happened in December 2017 when Ashley got hoodwinked, bamboozled, and run amok by Torrance to attend the Chicago Bears game. So, family, check this out for a second. Check this footage out. Ashley, I'm gonna start calling you Eskimo.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wipe the snow off.
Wow.
So you knew if she could do that, Torrance, she was the one, right?
Yeah. I knew if she didn't do
What
that.
What that mean to you? I'm serious.
She complained a little bit, but she ain't complained during the time. I'm like, oh, okay, she ride or die.
I wanted, because I knew that made him happy. And I wanted him to be happy. I was really, before halftime, I was looking for Tanisha and Turo to be like, we gonna leave, let's go. I thought they was gonna save me. They didn't save me. We all stayed.
After the fact, they said they was ready to go too.
Right.
I had to say the whole way.
So that meant something to you, Torrance? Really? I mean, it really meant something.
Oh, yeah. It made a great deal.
That's great. Wow, man. What a story.
So Antonio, you guys did something too that we brought last show.
Yeah.
Antonio, you said something that you asked her to go to a vision meeting. And when you said that, I'm thinking maybe the church was having something and you guys were going to do a vision board, but it was like a vision meeting date. So can you explain how that came to be, just the whole process, what happened?
Well, yeah, so we had just bought our first home. And so I said, hey, okay, that's off the checklist. Can we sit down and just talk, have a vision meeting, and really detail what we want the next year to 5 to 10 years to look like? And of course, we leave room for God, because God can throw a wrench in that thing and change everything. But we wanted to show God that we were intentional, not only about our purpose, but about our relationship. And so we sat down and I said the exact same words to her that I'm saying to you now. I said, hey, first things first, when do you want to get married? I said, I don't need a wedding. I can go to the courthouse tomorrow and we're in this thing. I'm here. I'm here forever. So when would you like to celebrate that day? And she was like, oh. And And so really at that meeting, we discussed a lot of things, children, family dynamics, her purpose, my purpose, what she wanted to accomplish, both physically, mentally, and financially too. And we really just wrote everything down, and I still have it in my journal. We just discussed what we wanted to the next 10 years to look like for us.
How did that make you feel, Chris?
It made me feel really good, and it made me feel like God was looking out for me. Because I know in my single season there were times where I'm like, God, where are you? Like, this cannot be the life. Like, this cannot, the stuff that I went through cannot be life that you want for me. And so when he decided to have that meeting, I was like, thank you, Lord. Like, I just immediately went into worship, like, after that around the house. And I was just like, you were really looking out for me. I just had to be patient. And, you know, the time frame that I had in my mind, you were like, it's coming. And I'm so glad that I was patient and open to hearing God.
So let me ask you this. Was that his proposal? I'm just curious.
No, it was not.
Wait. So we were
So what was the proposal like?
So when we were talking about it, we set a date that same day. So the date was set. And we started telling our friends, like, hey, we want you to be in our wedding. This is the date. Let's go for it. And when she said to me, I don't need a proposal. I don't need any of that, because this house is basically a proposal. Like, I don't need that. I would like a wedding, but the marriage is important. And when she said that, I was like, oh, I can go ahead and propose then. Let me get in my bag of tricks and see if I can trick her.
Yeah, and he tricked me because one of his aunts on his dad's side, I love her to death, and he had said that she was sick. And so
no, I didn't say she was sick.
Well, he says we have to go see about her. So I assumed that she was sick or something was wrong with her. And I was like, oh, we about to go see Auntie. We finna go to LaGrange, and we gonna go see her and go check on her. But little did I know, he was planning the whole thing as an engagement. So my best friend was getting married in this past May, and she was like, well, come to a bridal makeup trial with me, so I can see if I want to use this makeup artist for my wedding. And I was like, okay, girl, I got you, I'm coming. So I ended up going, hated my makeup. And so I was like, I'm finna wash it off. I don't like it. And she was like, you better not wipe that off. And I'm not knowing that she knows what's about to happen. And so I'm like, well, let me fix it or something. Let me fix it up myself. So I fixed it up myself. And so Tony told me before we go see his aunt, we're going to go ice skating with my best friend and her fiance. And I was like, cool. And then we're going to head to LaGrange. So we get to the ice skating rink at Piedmont and still oblivious to what's going on. So we're on the ice skating rink. It's a lot of people there. And then all of a sudden, people start vanishing off the ice skating rink. And the people I'm referring to is white people. So I was like, why are they leaving? Like, why are they see black people in here? Why are they leaving the ice skating rink?
She's going off.
So I got so offensive. And I was like, what's going on? And so I'm kind of a little bit ahead then on the rink because I don't want nobody to make me fall because I can't ice skate really good. And so then all of a sudden I hear PJ Morton, Here For You on the intercom. And I was like, babe, they're playing our song. I was like, what's the odds of that? And then as I'm coming around the corner, I see my mom, my cousins, his family, and they all have sunflowers in their hand. And that's my favorite flower. And I knew what was happening. Then I just bust out crying. And I was like, this is a proposal. And he got on one knee. He actually failed to get on one knee since we're on the ice skating rink. And he was just like, you're the most unexpected gift God could have gave me. He was like, so will you marry me? You want to have some babies? And I said, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. You know,
I want to hear Taurus too.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me hear Taurus. How did you propose to Ashley?
So we were going on, this is about August, and we was going on our about 5th year, going on our 6th year dating. And before then, I already knew I wanted to marry Ashley. I wanted to propose and everything. but my finances wasn't right, and I didn't want to, get a ring, and then we had to have an engagement for 2, 3 years because we didn't have no way to pay for it. But it came to the point I was like, hey, I just got to go ahead and do this. Like, God gonna make a way for me. So I called one of my good friends to come take me and go, look for rings. And I said, hey, it's August. I think I might do it on the 6 year mark, our anniversary. But I might do something different. And so we picked up a ring in August, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm propose on my birthday, which is October 27th. So I set up, every year I do a big thing. We go to a haunted house, and I have a big dinner with all my friends. I set it up to I was gonna invite her family and her friends, but I didn't want it to be obvious. So her sister comes down every year. They
For
both went to
homecoming.
Spelman, so it's homecoming. My birthday's around homecoming. So I told her sister, I said, hey, come to my birthday dinner. I need some of her family here, so it won't be obvious. You just here in town anyway. So her sister was there, and her sister's friend, and I invited one of her other friends, which we are close with, to make it, more happy for her. So we was out at dinner, and at the end of dinner, she gets up, gives me my gifts in front of everybody.
Thought I was doing something.
She
I
thought she
was
was doing
proud. I was very proud of my gifts. And I thought, you did that, sis.
So at the end, I stood up, try to make it seem like I'm about to say my thank yous to everybody for coming out and enjoying this day with me. And I gave the ring to my brother Turo, and I said, actually, I bought a gift for myself. And I said, Turo, can you come bring me that gift? And so he walked over, he gave me the ring. I turned to her and I told her that, it's been a rough couple of years, me not working this past year, which is 2019. And I said, I know God put us together. You might help me. And this time for us being together has been great. And I just decided that I wanted to buy myself a gift, which would be you being in my life for the rest of my life. And I gave her a ring.
Aw,
So it's the same thing when
you're just gonna make me
gift.
cry.
Yes, he
I
did.
love
Y'all kill that, man. Shout out to my brothers. That's beautiful.
Yes.
One of the things I think I see a common thread in both stories that I think is beautiful. I want to kind of pick that a little bit. Tonya, you mentioned that when you proposed to her, that you had all these things with her friends about the makeup, then the ice skating. She gets there, she's oblivious to what's happening. Then she looks up and she sees her relatives. So I want to talk about that because a lot of couples who are getting married, who are already married, don't have good relationships with their spouses' families. And I preached a sermon years ago, when your in-laws become your outlaws. So I want to talk about that for a moment. How have you managed, for both of you? I want to ask both of you the same question. You Antonio, then you Chris, and then you Ashley Torrance. How has that relationship been with blending each other's family into your union?
Oh, Lord. Talk about it.
So we had a few stumbling blocks at the beginning, and it was because they assumed that I was just here for a moment. So they treated me as such until maybe it was, she had a death in the family. And I stopped everything. I said, hey, let's go. What time we need to leave? What do you need? Let's go. And so I drove up there with her. We rode and made sure she didn't want or need anything during that time, because like myself, she's sort of for this generation, she's the backbone of it. And so everybody's always doing this to her, this to her. So I wanted to make sure that when they were doing that to her, she could do that to me. And I think a light bulb went out for her mom, like, oh, wait a minute. And she called me, actually, while we were there in the kitchen, she started crying and said, thank you for being there for my baby. And that shifted the whole day. She started telling me she loved me, love y'all, we love you. Yeah. So, but at first though,
Struggle, but
Yeah, it
I
was a little
understand.
rough. It was a little rough, and I'm my mom's only child. My mom couldn't have kids. The doctor told her the same thing, that she wouldn't be able to have children. And I'm her miracle baby because she almost died having me, and I was also a preemie. So just close ties, me being her only child, and all that. But as far as with his mom, yeah, it was a little rough too. um, I can, I can say I know with her, she loves differently, and I had to get used to that. I had to get used to the way that she loved. And then also, just being in a transparent moment, she was also still friends with his ex. And so I didn't like that per se. And I was like, why is she not friends with me? Like, I'm here, am I not here for the long run? Why haven't we had a relationship? And I remember Tony saying that she's waiting for us to say I do. And in that moment, I was really like, well, what if I don't want to be her friend after I do? Like, what if I don't want to talk to her after I do? And I had all this bitterness and all this like unforgiveness inside of me. And I was like, well, what good is that going to do? Because she's going to be your children's grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And so I just really just let God do it. Like, I would reach out to her and say, hey, how you doing? Or some days I'm like, you want to go get your nails done? And some days she said yes, and some days she said no. And then when I finally got the yes, that finally opened the door to like, oh, she really sees Chris for Chris. And now she's like, oh, you hungry? I'm finna bring some chicken. I'm like, okay, mom, I'm here. So it's much, much better than it was. But yeah, we both have rough starts, but it's great now.
I just appreciate y'all's maturity because I wasn't that mature. I'm just sorry. Forgive me, but I wasn't. So I just appreciate it. You're helping me. What about you, Taurus and Ashley?
Well, so Torrance's mom has always been a sweetheart to me, a super sweetheart. Dad too, always embraced me. I had to learn the way his sister loves. Had to really figure that out because our personalities are polar opposite. I'm quiet, introverted, conservative, and she's just straight to the point. And initially I was like, what did I get myself into? But she took me in as her own sister. She's been a sweetheart to me, and now we're great in a wonderful place. I wanted to make sure that with my family that I was being intentional about bringing Torrance into the fold. So I think like you came home to North Carolina with me like our second year dating, right?
Mhm.
For Christmas. And I was like, come on, like let's go so I can show them, because I have been in that long-term relationship and they had so many ties still with him, and I had to get them to see like I have moved on. So I need for you to move on with me. So I was very intentional about making sure that they knew about him, and that they knew that he was gonna be here to stay.
And I was ready to cut that too. Cut that time.
Yeah, he was over it. He was definitely over it. So that was a period of time that we had a little bit of a stumbling block there, but over time, yeah, I think everybody's in a great place now. It worked out well, fortunately.
Taurus was like, that's Tanisha's baby. That's her baby brother. It's like, she's the mama, the big sister. So, but how
And
was
if
it
you
for
can
you,
make it
Taurus?
do it, you get to stay.
Yeah, and I remember him telling me that,
Exactly.
like, because I am sensitive, okay, sensitive, and I would complain and crying and all of this, and he's like, "Listen, it doesn't mean anything, all right. If you can get through it, you're good, all right. Just don't worry about it." And I'm like, "But you hurt my feelings," But I had to learn again. That's the way that she loves, and there's no harm meant by it at all. So yeah. Took a minute, but we're there.
Yeah. So how was it for you, Torrance, with her family, meeting them the first time?
Uh, for me, I would say it was quite easy because they are country, so they they love you no matter who it is. And her mom is kind of quiet, so you can't really gauge how she feeling, and so is her dad too. But I can break the ice easily. I'm no stranger to being awkward, so I can kill that quickly. But her grandparents, I knew from the fact that they loved me from the top. How they engaged and talked to me, and mom cooked me food and fed me real well. So, and I like to eat. So her grandma did the job because they cook every Sunday, every day. And so, and she has a big family. They real close. They like this. They meet up every Sunday. They talk to each other all the time. So I hopped on with the family like with ease because if I go to one house, everybody's there. So I can talk to all the aunties, all the uncles. She has a great aunt they call the police. And when I tell you that's somebody you need to be scared of, yeah, she'll grill you hard. She's a good 80 something plus, but she's a real popo. But other than that, it was all love. I'm cool. I can take the heat because I'm here for her, and we're gonna stay. And then I said if they don't like it, they just gonna have to, but it ain't come out that way.
But I knew, so my dad is a man of very few words, just like Torrance.
Facts.
But I knew that he was on board with Torrance when we were at my grandmother's house on his side of the family, and she had fixed all this food. Now I fixed my plate, and then I went to have a seat. And my dad was like, "Are you gonna fix Torrance's plate?" And I was like, "What?" So I got and I fixed his plate. And at that moment, I knew. I said, "Okay, my dad, he likes him because he doesn't say anything, you know." So that was kind of like, all right, we're on the right page here.
That's great. This whole thing of family in North Carolina and Chicago and driving to Illinois, Midwest for Chris's funeral, a family member's funeral. It brings up something I want to ask you, Chris and Antonio, because Antonio, you've been in ministry your whole life, and when you are a minister, there is a yes that transcends relationships. That is an accountability to God for the call. And what I want to ask you in particular, Chris, is you don't know what the future holds with your husband to be, in terms of what God may have for him to do. And sometimes that can be very frightening. I remember once we first got married, there was a church in Chicago, by the way, Torrance, that was extremely interested in me becoming the pastor. Extremely interested. And I felt a very strong connection to the church in Chicago. I felt a very strong connection. And we'd just been married. I mean, it literally was right after we got married. And they offered me the world. And she was working, had an extremely good job. And I was feeling a connection with this church, Antonio. And I said, I feel this church, yada, yada. And Sister Girl here was not hearing nothing I was saying. I mean, the Lord himself would have had to come down from the right hand of God, the Father, to have a conversation with her.
And that's what I said.
So, Chris, with that being said, what do you feel your role is going to be in terms of supporting him, as a man of God, because you got dreams, you got degrees, you've been working in entertainment. How do you feel your responsibilities to him in terms of what God may have him to do?
So I feel like my responsibility is to really, as we're about to enter into marriage, is to submit to what God said to him. Because sometimes what God says to him, God may not say to me. And it may take me a minute to be like, hold up, did God say that? Because he didn't say that to me. And I need to make sure that he said that to you. So And I was watching this sermon that he sent to me today, The Power of Agreement. And TD Jakes was talking about how, just because you're in agreement doesn't mean you have to agree. You just have to agree about what God says. And so if God spoke to him about this church or whatever it was, I have to trust God, to trust that he's going to lead me to the right place. And to be all the way honest, he actually had a almost offer in Dallas, Texas last year. And so I was not ready. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, I don't think I'm ready for Dallas. I don't think I'm ready for Dallas. I mean, like, how we gonna get there? Like, how we gonna get our cars down there? Like, I just started panicking, and I really need to just submit to the purpose of what God has called him to do instead of panicking right away, and just start praying and asking God for me to see what he saw.
That's good. That's good. So Ashley and Torrance, let me ask you something. So we're talking about like family. I want to know, what have you learned from your parents' relationship that you either don't want in your marriage, or some examples you learned from them that, hey, this is something I want to keep going in my marriage?
Mm. Well, my parents got divorced, I want to say, so long I don't even remember. It might have been at the age of 2. And so my father really wasn't there. I used to go to his house, every weekend or so for a couple of years until I was maybe 8, and it just ended. So from 8 to late teenage years, it was almost to nothing. And he's now getting back involved in our lives, and so I just knew from the lack that I had growing up, I didn't want that, and how great my mom was to being a single parent raising 2 kids, and me and my sister, we rough around the edges, so she was strong willed to do that. I just knew how to do things from her and what not to do from my dad. And so I just knew what I needed to do in marriage. It's kind of like.
Yeah, and
What about
my
you?
family, like, my parents have been married for at least 30 years, and then both of their parents have also been married. Like, my mother's parents have been married for 50 plus years, and then same thing on my dad's side of the family. So my vision of marriage is that it's forever. So we came with different
Okay.
experiences and different backgrounds on it. But what I can see from the relationships that are, that I can see from the outside looking in, is compromise and consistency and just a whole lot of love and continue to be friends forever. Yeah. And that's something that I want to continue as we embark on marriage, remembering that we were friends first. Always have fun, never stop laughing at each other, make life an enjoyable experience.
That's awesome. This has been amazing, and you guys, it's so refreshing, hear these conversations. And as we close, I want you all to speak a word of encouragement to the people, couples who are watching, singles who are watching. Just something for them, word of hope. Word of,
Especially singles.
yeah. But I want you all. What kind of advice would you give to people who are watching? Just to encourage them to keep doing what God has told them to do, and to hold on when it seems like nothing is coming. So we'll start with you, Chris and Tony, and then we'll close with you, Torrance and Ashley. So if you had to give a word of encouragement to somebody who's watching, singles, she said singles, what would that be?
Okay, just for me, don't stop praying. Remember what you prayed for. Remember what God promised you, in a nutshell, because your prayer, your answered prayer will come at the exact time that you need it. So please do not stop praying. Don't lose hope. God is listening.
And I would say forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for all the mistakes that you've made, and give yourself room to have grace. Give yourself grace, because nobody's perfect. Nothing is perfect. So forgive yourself first. Give yourself grace so that you can operate in the presence of God and in the space that God can work and move in your life.
It's awesome.
Same thing here. Pray and don't worry. I don't pray for something and just quickly don't think God's not listening. And if you gotta go out like what Ashley did and go and get it, go get it. You don't want to miss your blessing. And even if you are engaged at this time too, not just for singles, if you're engaged during this COVID season, it's okay. If you want to get married, it can happen. Just like what they might do, still go to the courthouse, get married. You plan that wedding on a later day. God meant for y'all to be together. It's gonna happen.
Yep, it's about the marriage,
That's good.
not necessarily the wedding. Yeah. I was going to say, don't limit God. Don't put God in a box. Throw away your supposed checklist and just be open. And also, I think like our generation does a lot. So culture, we're quick to cancel things and cancel people. People make mistakes. If you start dating someone and things look a little fishy at the beginning, give people a second chance. You just really never know. So don't box God in. Give people chances and throw away those checklists.
Don't compare it to your previous relationships either.
Yes, that too.
That's great. You're all industrious. You've been doing a lot of things in ministry and outside. I want to talk about the business because I know, Chris, you were doing this radio piece at one time. So in the businesses, you guys got the products and the brands you guys are pushing. I want to let people know how they can follow you and what kind of services or brands or products or books or podcasts. What are you offering? So Chris, Antonio, we'll start with you. Then we'll close out with Torrance and Ashley.
Yeah, so for me, unfortunately, I'm not in the radio industry right now because of COVID. They let me go, but that didn't stop me. That doesn't stop my purpose. So now I've ordered me some mics, and I'm going to start up my own little voiceover company. I do voiceovers, and then also just being around our peers in our community. They're like, you guys talking about me and Tony should start a podcast or YouTube series. So once we get married, we'll drop Journey with the Jennings, and it's basically our journey of dating each other and in marriage.
Yeah. So I am a full-time trainer, health and fitness and wellness director for the Good Samaritan Health Center, as well as a speaker, writer, and minister. And I also do crisis management for a few companies, small businesses too. And you can find me at Antonio Jennings or weareplanetATL.com.
Outstanding. Good. The information's on the screen now for Antonio, so make sure you check him out. Powerful, powerful man of God. All right, Ashley, you and Torrance?
Well, go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. So I am a teacher by day, but I also am a professional background vocalist.
Today
was my first day back at school. Yes, by the way, we're back in the classroom. So today was the first day back. But I do professional background vocalist. I am also a private piano instructor, so I've been doing virtual lessons all summer long. So if your children are still at home and you want to get them into something that's going to be rigorous for them and kind of work with their creativity, I am teaching voice lessons and piano lessons. My company name is Sonata Sessions Piano Studio. So if you'd like to reach me there, you can reach me at Sonata Sessions Piano at gmail.com, and then my Instagram is also Sonata Sessions Piano.
I am a jack of a few trades. I do audio, visual, camera work, production work. So need an engineer, need an audio person, installs equipment, training. You can hit me up on Instagram, TMB Water. That's about it.
Mhm.
And he's a DJ.
That's
Oh,
right.
Yeah, I was like,
DJ. There's a track of all trades. Anything video, audio, DJing, TV work, production, stage work. I mean, man.
Hey, listen, both of you, all four, amazing. It's so much hope, such bad news in the world. You see a lot of bad news, and just the positivity and the light that you bring it's splendid. And we wish you Godspeed. Antonio, you and Chris, as you get ready to make that move in a few weeks, our prayers are with you. That God's just going to keep you just as blessed and happy and healthy and in the center of His will. And of course, you, Ashley and Torrance, as you get ready for February, we speak the same over your life, because you're certainly a bright light in a world of darkness. And so we bid you Godspeed and just speak blessings and peace and happiness over everything that you do. May everything you touch, may God crown it with abundant favor and success. So thank you for sharing. We've enjoyed these 2 sessions with you. You helped a lot of people. And we thank you so very much for taking Andre's invitation. So fam, those you've been watching, this has been the 2nd episode of Marriage Matters with Chris and Antonio and Ashley and Torrance. Hope you've been as inspired as we have. We've been blessed just to have these conversations. God is doing a great work, and the young people who are on fire for God, walking in purpose, and that can encourage us all. So hope you're inspired. We've been blessed by sharing with you. And we're going to close this episode of Marriage Matters on Hope TV. But as always, remember this: if you will be good to God, God will be good to you. Till we meet again, take care. Peace. Bye, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Also.